Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomen Radio. I'm Amy. How's everyone doing tonight? We're going to talk about Chris Watts and the prison phone calls. And we can't deny that for however shy Chris is reportedly, he sure has been caught having some pretty interesting conversations via the phone. The sheer volume of cell phone evidence in this case is mind boggling. I thought it would be a great idea to delve into some of Chris Watts' past and present phone calls, as well as listen to a few of his voice messages on this episode of Parawomen Radio. Before we start, I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for everyone to arrive. A big shout out to my dragonflies. I see you and your ability to soar. Did you know dragonflies can fly up, down, forwards, left, right? They can stop in midair and go backwards. They are like the only flying creature that can stop in midair and go backwards. We are amazing. And these are my Parawomen Radio members, the Dragonflies. And I love you guys. Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomen Radio. I'm Amy.
Someday you'll know. Someday you'll know. You know what I'm going to say. I've been feeling this way for far too long. And now you're gone. Took me away from all of my fears. Kept me away from all of my tears. Now you're gone. And now I'm lost. Finally, I think I can see clearly now. I'm in love. Think about me one more time before you slowly. I'm in love. Took me away from all of my fears slowly. I'm in love. Kept me away from all of my.
Okay, you guys, how is everyone doing tonight? Are you feeling good? I hope you are. And I want to do a special shout out to the replay crew. I know you're out there. I see you. I hope that you had a wonderful day. By the time you're watching this, it could be late night or early morning. Either way, I hope you're doing well. So I wanted to talk about Chris Watts and his prison phone calls. Hi, everybody in the chat. I see you. I see people from Wisconsin, Texas, Corpus Christi. You're just everywhere, and I love that. You know, Chris likes his phone, right? And I just want to kind of look at some of his past phone calls, and then there's even a creator that did put a number out there for people to call, and he has Chris Watts's, sounds just like him. I don't know if it is him or not. And then there's people talking to Chris on it. And I just want to go through it. I'm going to give you the choice. I have a few things that we can listen to. We can do, when we get there, we can do something like watch Does God Want Chris Watts Out of Prison? An analysis of Chris's phone call with private investigator. Or I have Mommy Ramblings, and it's the Chris Watts family jail call analysis, Twilight Zone moments, total denial. So when we get there, you guys are going to have to choose. But first, I want to start. Let me get my screen all situated. Oops. I always leave that up because I want to make sure I check my audio because I have been known to talk without anybody listening or anybody being able to hear, I should say. I put the baby bird to bed and I scheduled this a little bit later. And I hope this works out well. Like he doesn't hear me and you guys are good with me being a little bit later in the night. So let me know. I've been really trying to think about how to do this with the baby bird. Okay, let's start with some of the content that was going on Chris's phone before and during the murders. You guys be sure to give this live a thumbs up. You know, I like to do the algorithm dance party. Just start, warming your fingers up and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. Just start hitting it like nobody's watching, but the algorithm is always watching. It's just a free way to help me out, and it's really, really appreciated. Also, if you like my content, please be sure to subscribe. And if you do, you ring the bell and all that good stuff. Okay. So do we all remember this image but this was on Shanann's phone, wasn't it? Did this ever make it onto Chris's phone? I don't think it did. Do you guys remember? This was on his phone. This was roughly 18 hours before their murders. Schmurders, I mean. It's so hard to play the word game with YouTube, and it's not fun either. Watts took one of the last known images of Celeste in life. He sent this, and one of Bella's taken at the same time to Shanann. So these are the girls eating pizza, cold pizza. So sad. Bella, she's such a sweetheart. Yeah. And I thought this was actually Bella's last picture. Yes, this is the last picture known for Bella. I thought she looked really cute in that dress and those little tennis shoes. Here's some text between Chris Watts and his friend, Chris Watts and his friend Josh. Wait, it's moving fast. Hold on, I gotta slow down. Let me see if you guys are saying anything over in chat. No, I like it. I'm ready just in case I get an interview. Oh, this is the one that the friend that was trying to move to Colorado and Chris was recommending him to Anadarko. That might be how some people get hired here, LOL. So, yeah. Hey, so, he's talking. Everybody says he's so shy, but he seems perfectly fine to talk about things in text. Wouldn't you say? Do you think he's a shy guy? Or do you think it's just an act? So here are some things that Chris was doing before the unalivings. And Here's something else Chris was doing with his phone, not answering officers' phone calls.
That's him. Okay, let me just come on. This is Officer Goodman. Is this Christopher? Hung up on me again.
What do you think he was trying to do in this moment? Some people say he was on the phone with Nicole and that's why he was on the phone with Nicole and he wasn't answering the police officer's phone calls. And not trying to call him back.
Hello, Christopher? Christopher. Yeah. This is Officer Good. Yeah. Just going to keep it recording so in case he calls back and get him.
So Chris is just not answering and he's not calling back. And wasn't this the night of the 111-minute phone call?
Hello, Christopher. This is Officer Goodman, Frederick Police Department. Are you there? Hello?
Or, I just had a thought.
And that's the number you called and it went right through last time you had contact with him? 910-309-1702. That's what's coming in. They don't have a house phone?
Was it something paranormal? Because I think this was the night that he said he could barely sleep. But yet, he was zonked out.
That's a different number now.
No shy act.
This is Officer Goodman, Frederick Police
I
Department.
think he was trying to make.
And this is Chris Watts. That's why I'm calling you back from my personal phone.
Yes. That's a good point. Yes.
Oh, this is your work phone? Okay. So we're just trying to get some of your wife and kids' information entered in to put some alerts out there. I just need to get some information about the kids. Do you know how, on Bella, do you know her height, weight, hair color, and eyes?
So height would be 42 inches.
Okay.
Weight would be 40 pounds.
Okay.
Hair color would be brown.
All right.
And when I hear him saying this, I just think about them going in the hatch and how did they ever fit?
Eye color would be brown as well.
Okay. Does she have any scars, marks, tattoos?
No.
Okay. And then on Celeste, same thing.
You think so?
So she is 37 inches tall.
Okay.
She is 37 pounds.
Okay.
Blonde hair.
Nice.
This kind of all feels new and fresh to me because when this happened, I was really sick. And so I didn't really, and I was, I had my brain bleed and I was on pain medication. So I didn't really catch all the nuances. And now, I transitioned off all of that to medical greenery. And I'm picking up so many things that I missed. And I'm so glad that you guys are here to tell me like what it is, because some things I just don't remember. So now that you're saying the three-way call, I remember it, and you're just absolutely right.
Hazel eyes.
Hazel. Okay, and again, no scars, marks, tattoos.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
good point.
Okay, we're just gonna get that information out, and we're just gonna keep. Oh, does Shannon have any scars, marks, or tattoos?
She has the scar on her forehead only pops out every once in a while. It's from that car wreck she had a long, long time ago, but no tattoos.
Okay. Is it really a visible?
I remember seeing that scar in some of the photos.
Full scar or no?
No, it's just like only when like only if she's like really heated.
Okay.
She's like outside running around a lot.
Okay. So it's like when there's a lot of sun.
Yeah.
Okay. And where is that on her forehead? Left, middle.
Yeah, like right in the middle forehead. It's like right kind of like it runs like right in the middle, like just above the bridge of the nose.
I'm looking at these closed captions, and they are just way off.
Down.
Like Chris is such a mumbler that it's just like the Seinfeld episode. Mumbler.
It's like where the glass stuff went to her forehead from that car accident.
Now, when you say goes down towards her
like
mouth.
It goes up and down, so side to side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you have to really look for it, but like it's there. Like if she's like outside running around, it just kind of comes through.
Okay. So since the other officers have talked to you, has anything else come to mind that you can think of to help us try to figure out what's going on, where she is?
Nothing's come across. There's a bunch of text messages from a lot of friends just reaching out to me, just seeing like if they could help or whatnot, but nothing new.
Okay. Can't think of any other names or anything that come to mind that we could call.
No new names right now. Everybody else it's just been like consistently the same people just reaching out to me.
Okay.
A lot of phone calls from North Carolina, but
his voice does sound a little strange. Like it kind of sounds like either he's stuffed up or he was sleeping and he woke him up. It sounds a little different to me.
people I haven't heard from in a long time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, if you hear something, obviously, let us know as soon as you can, and if you can think of anything, if anything.
Oh, he had been doing a lot of lying, like his body must have been like going crazy. I don't even know how he held it together for as long as he did, because he just doesn't strike me as a person that could hold things together ever.
Thing you think of that might help us locate her, just let us know. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
All right, you have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Jackass. Can't stand him. I can't stand hearing his voice. Yeah, his voice is like on sped up or something. But I noticed that there's a generation of people that voices are sped up, so it's the generation that came right after Gen X. I don't know who they are, but their voices are sped up a little bit. No offense to you if you're one of those people. Okay, so moving on, we know that now that he's in prison, he likes to do his little racy letters to multiple women from his prison cell because, like, aren't the letters just like new texting for him, right? Wouldn't you say that the letters are just a new way for him to text? So he's all in it for the letters, and he likes to do the racy letters. Let me make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. You're not. Okay, hold on. So he's all for the racy letters, right? He is, Sherry. Boom. He sounded the same during the Dodge interview. In my humble opinion, he is faking emotions and thinking of lies. Yeah, his voice gets shaky too. Do you notice like the shakiness in his voice? My daughter is 15 and she's aware of this case and some of the theories and speculations of this case, which shows how big it is. Yeah, it's even with the teenagers, it's big. So, yeah, this case is everywhere. And I have people from everywhere on my channel. And I know that a lot of you, like 75% of you, come from my Watts content. So it's just really amazing. Oh, yeah, I heard that too. Andrea says, I just found out that he eats his earwax, and I saw it's in the interrogation. He puts his finger in his ears and then in his mouth. It's gross. I have a weak stomach, so that grosses me out. Ugh. So he's doing the racy letters, which are really just his new way of texting. Chris Watts, 37, was sentenced to life in prison for the 2000. Oh, and also we don't watch and read everything in its entirety usually, and we speed things up. I put everything that we watch, I put all the links in the description, and you can just go on your own time and watch it however you want. I have to do this for fair play use, and I hope you understand. Chris Watts, the man who murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters, has been corresponding with several women for years, and now a jail source tells people that the convicted killer is sending. I'm trying not to like talk really loud, but also it's really hard for me to be present on air with you guys and not be able, to be excited and happy. Just, I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I'm just going to do it how I normally do it. And if he wakes up, he wakes up. Chris Watts, the man who murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters, has been corresponding with several women for years, and now a jail source tells people that the convicted killer is sending racy letters to some of them. They send sexy pictures and he responds, says the source, who has spoken with Watts several times in jail. There are a lot of women who think he's handsome, and I don't understand these women, and misunderstood. They send a lot of letters. Watts, who is serving a life sentence in a federal prison in Wisconsin, has bought a lot of stamps and paper from the commissary. People confirms prisoners are allowed to correspond with people as long as they are no threats to anyone's safety. They are not allowed to send or receive pornography, but there are no rules against suggestive photos. He's got nothing else to do, says the source. So he feeds his ego in that way because he's not popular at all in prison. What? Chris Watts is not on the highest level of the social ladder in prison? I'm shocked. Is anyone else shocked? I mean, he wasn't even on the highest social ladder in the free world. Yeah, that's a bad thing that I say like a lot. I think I don't need a swear jar. I need a like jar. I was doing it when I was doing the Gypsy Rose earlier today. Oh, okay. You don't have original content? Well, I feel like the way I put it together is original. So, yeah. I guess that's all in the perception. I thought he found God and is a pious man now, but he's really writing like a pervert. Yeah. Poor Shanann, she would have seen the real him at some point. Yeah, I think she finally was seeing him and he just couldn't hide it anymore. I think he was doing a lot more than we know. I think he was seeing the people behind her back and just really going for it. Hold on, I've got to take the ad blocker off of this. But Chris Watts had got in trouble. And remember the Vaseline and the panties found in the other person's cell? Well, he got in trouble for that and he lost his phone privileges. And the ex-fiance says that Chris's prison pal insists they did not have XEX after Unaliver's dad's undergarments and personal items were found in the other man's cell. So we all remember this probably. But he lost his phone privileges over it. And that must have been devastating for Chris because being on the lowest tier in prison, I mean, what does he have to do but eat his earwax? That's stuck in my brain now. Oh, Sarah, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you, okay? I hope that you find happiness. Exactly. What about being saved? Now he reads the Bible and writes porn. Yes. Seems like that's what he does. And he also got in trouble for that. Remember that time where he was writing to some lady and he said, you know, I'm going to soak your underwear, get to me, or, you know, something like that. Remember that little episode? So he lost his privileges at one point to make phone calls. And over on the Reddit, there's family phone calls that we're going to listen to. Or actually, you're going to decide. Do you want to do the mommy ramblings where it's an analysis of Chris Watts' family jail call? Or do you, hold on, or do you want to do the Martin Decoder? Does God want Chris Watts out of prison? Analysis of Chris's phone calls with private investigator. Think about it. I'm going to go over the Reddit and I have one other thing. Family phone calls from prison. Was just listening to a phone call CW made to his family members on November 22nd, 2018. And I did find out the reason why we don't get prison phone calls from Chris anymore is because he was in Colorado when this was all going down. And that's a state that allows prison phone calls to be released to the public. But Wisconsin does not do that, apparently. And so we're never going to hear phone calls unless somebody's recording it, like with, yeah, I don't know, like a private phone call. Crime Talk, Chris Watts' new prison call. I wanted to go over this one while you're deciding. It's a 16-minute one, and it was on 8/11/2020, and it's audio only. So let me get everything situated for this. Okay.
That's floating around on the internet. But there's apparently a call between Chris Watts and I think a woman named Anna and some unknown guy on the other side that was telling Chris Watts that he is just a victim of this entire situation. And it sounds like he's reviewing the discovery. And Chris Watts goes off and talks about how he wants to do a 35C. And then he starts talking about how
this was when everyone had gassed him up and he was going to do it, but I don't think he ever was going to do it. I don't think he ever did. He just like strung everybody around along like, okay, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I don't think he was ever going to do it because he knows he's supposed to be there.
there's the fruit of the poisonous tree and Brady information, and how he just doesn't think that the mission that God has put him on earth for means that he should remain in custody. And this unidentified individual then states that, Chris, you got screwed. We're going to help you get out. It's all part of just a big game.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Not too bad. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, is it just you, or is Anna on also?
I'm here too.
All right, cool. All right, so just talk to me. I don't want to be the one monopolizing the conversation. So tell me what you want to know from me, or just tell me what's on your.
Surely this guy didn't. Well, actually, I mean, there are people that believe it, that he didn't do stuff. So I'm not even going to say it.
Well, just going to the law library as much as I have.
Let's see what you guys are saying.
I see a lot of.
I didn't know all of this. This is all very enlightening and new info to me. Thank you. You're welcome. This is all kind of new info. Some of this is new info to me. And I just feel like the way I put it together, I try to create a story out of it. And yeah, I hoped when he was caught with the, you know what? I'm going to make my screen bigger too. I'm going blind. Actually, I need glasses. I hoped when he was caught with the Vaseline, he just wanted soft hands and feet. I think Chris does not want his family to ever think that. I think his family might be homophobic, and I think he does not want his family to think that of him. How did mommy communicate? I don't know what that means. Is his mom going to cry and whine? I love you so much in these. And yeah. And they wouldn't let her talk to him before he went in front of the judge. Like, everybody should be able to talk to their mom before you go in front of the judge.
I've heard a lot of cases around here, guys. I've seen a lot of cases where, the DA or the judge have had a lot of misconduct, but the judge has ruled, say, well, it's not egregious enough, or it's not that, that wow factor enough to really, sway in the defendant.
I think Cindy was a driving force in this phone call and in this, thing. And I have started to get a soft spot for Cindy and Ronnie, because I'm just so PO'd at Chris for stringing them along, he's not allowing them to heal properly. And it's just so selfish. But I mean, look what he did. So why am I surprised?
Favorites. Now, I'm looking at the things that I know. I mean, I've never dealt with a lot of people, but all this, I'm winging it in a law library.
Interesting. Andrea said, I heard on 2 other channels that he isn't at Dodge anymore. They each called the prison and his name isn't on the roster. That's all the guard who answered the phone, knew. Interesting. When did they call? Do you know? Was it like this week, today, yesterday? Yeah, no, Chris never wanted that 35C. Hi, Cowboy RC. Yes. He says Chris is likely gay and he's against over it dictated a lot of his behaviors of wearing a mask. It's unfortunate that he never just did this his thing. I know, in life without destroying innocent people. I know. Like, if you want to be single, get a divorce. I mean, divorces are traumatic and they're hard, but I gotta say, they're far easier than what he went through to eradicate his family. He's all safe with the elderly sex offenders and being protected. Yep. Snug as a bug. Oh, about a month ago. All right. Parawoman super sleuths, keep your eyes and ears open, and I will too, to see if he is transferred. Maybe there was that thing where he was supposed to be attacked. I think this was like 6 months or to a year ago. And they said that he was being transferred within the prison. And when that happens, he will like get a whole new whatever. Like, and his most dangerous time is when he's going through the welcome center. So yeah. Oh, you think he's still in Wisconsin? Who knows? But I will keep my eyes and ears open for you guys.
As I am. And, God directed me through little things like through the poisonous tree, the Brady law, and different cases that, just they pop out of nowhere, but I know what God is putting in front of me. And I see all these things that relate to my case. I just don't know, like, how to frame this, where, like when I do this 35C, like, I've had this paperwork with me for probably a couple months, and I know I only have like a year left to appeal some of those Class B and C felonies at like a 3-year limit or 2-year limit, and I really want to figure this out where I can do it in the right time frame, but also like not rushing anything.
He's such a liar. Such a liar.
And I just want to get out of here. I know that God has a plan for me, and it's to be in prison right now, but
I mean, I'll call. I'll call. I don't have any problems calling. And actually, maybe Cowboy RC could answer these questions. Andrea has heard that Chris is no longer at Dodge because 2 creators have called and his name's no longer listed, and the person that answered the phone couldn't give them any information. So, I mean, do you think he's being transferred within Dodge and that's why he's not listed? Hi, Sloth 96. Oh, maybe that's it. I'd call, but I don't want to give him any of my energy. That's a good point. Even if it's just a phone call. Excellent point. I feel like don't put your energy into anything anymore. Like, time is too precious. Like, I was actually sitting today thinking about how time has sped up somehow, because everybody's saying it. Time has sped up. Something's going on, and we really need to treasure what we're doing in the moment, because, yeah. The most dangerous time for an inmate like that in assessment and orientation until everyone receives a housing. That's what I was trying to think of, a housing classification. Does he maybe not have a housing classification and that's why he's not listed? I don't know. Maybe I'm just reaching. I'm reaching. Yeah, many states have interstate compact transfer agreements, but where would they transfer him to? I know he's deadly afraid to go back to Colorado. No, I don't think they can tell. I don't think they would tell, because when they transferred him from Colorado to Wisconsin, we did not know. Like, it wasn't filmed. Like how, remember how Lori Vallow was transferred and it was all filmed, and she was, she had her moment, and they were filming her being X-rayed and all that. None of that happened with Chris. Very hush hush, quiet, nothing like that.
Hey, because he brought me here for a reason. But he also wants me to do something on the outside. I know I just can't sit here and just wait. Because I know there's waiting doing nothing, and there's waiting that seeking an action verb. That's what I'm doing. But I also want to know what action to take, because I have no intellect when it comes to the law. But I know he can teach me, and that's what I'm just waiting for. Like, things to fall into place. I still know how to do it.
If I went to prison, I would learn the law. I would try to become a paralegal or something, and that's the way that I would help people, because I feel like if you're in prison, you need to have some kind of something to keep yourself safe. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like it is. Cowboy RC, what do you think about that? I keep referring to Cowboy because, and I'm going to stop saying RC. I'm just going to call him Cowboy. And because he was, oh gosh, I don't even remember. It's like really high up there. And let me pop over and look real quick. I was talking to him today, and he is, well, first, he's a personal trainer. And he had a 15-year career with the Wyoming Department of Corrections, retiring as a sergeant watch commander. So he knows a little bit about it. And hopefully we're going to do something together where I can bring him up and he can talk about what Chris's experience is probably going like. Yes, a retired sergeant watch commander. And I have no idea what that is. And I hope that we can find that out.
I got you. And you don't have the benefit of an attorney that is in your hip pocket, so to speak. Okay, I've got a couple of attorneys here I can talk to that can maybe help.
Was this around the time that Lana was doing that thing with them, and they thought they had money to do this, and they were probably telling the lawyer they had money to do this, and so he was like, yeah, right on.
Get some good results, get some good advice for you in terms of forms and what to say, things like that. That's not going to be an overnight process for me to, get the results.
I agree.
We want. It's going to take some time, but I'm not saying overnight, but I am saying maybe several days or a week or so. So let me see what I can do along those lines. Because I know you're in a tough spot, and it's how do you know how to do something when you don't know what it is you need to do? So it's tough. So I get it.
It's trial by error thing, but I know when the law is like, all right, you're gonna run into certain things where the motion's gonna get denied, or like whatever I write down, the judge might think, well, that's not what you're claiming isn't enough to go back to. You're not warranted a trial. You're not warranted to have this appeal granted. Denied. And it's like, well, what do I do then?
Yeah.
And so I basically feel like Chris was never going to do this. This is just all talk, lies. The lawyer is just gaslighting. Chris is gaslighting. And I think we're going to go into Mommy Ramblings and watch Chris Watts's family jail calls analysis, Twilight Zone moments, because I like her quite a bit. She has great insight. And I didn't know she was, isn't she Checkmate Humanity too? Isn't she? I think she is. Maybe not.
In the video description and in the first comment, I'll pin it. If you haven't seen it, you can go back and look at that. And so this is going to continue on. And these were going to be actual phone calls, again, from November of 2018, after Chris took the plea deal, after
I
he
should
was
have probably said that. Absolutely nothing ever came of that phone call. Chris never had, I don't believe Chris ever had an intention to file it. He let the time come and go. I had a video up. It was like a 30-second clip of Chris whining to his girlfriend saying, "Baby, I hope you're not mad at me. I get, and I got, it was in the strike that I got with Seeking the Truth. And I would have won the copyright thing. I didn't know. I kind of freaked out, and Kelly from What's the Obsession, helped me out and all that. And I relaxed, but I was deleting some videos because he had people combing through my stuff, just looking for anything to strike. And he had gotten me on 2 strikes. And I would have won and eventually, but it would have taken my channel off the internet for 2 weeks or so. Well, I don't know, even longer. I think it was like, he had 10 days. I responded, then YouTube takes it somewhere, and then they send it over to Dave, and Dave has 10 days to respond. So, I mean, it's just, I was freaking out anyway. And it was a video. I don't have it anymore. I accidentally deleted it. And when you delete a video too, you can't fight the strike. So, with that long story, he was whining on the phone with his girlfriend saying, "No, I just can't do it. I hope you can forgive me." Wah. And that was the outcome of that.
sentenced after his parents made what they called a victim statement, which all the time.
Actually, not wah, wah, wah. More like that.
I said was ridiculous, that I would have just, I don't know, I would have had contempt of court because I would have just.
So we're moving on, and this is a Ronnie Cindy phone call, but it's Mommy Ramblings analysis of it and the Twilight Zone moments. I'm going to do another live where I kind of talk about it, work it up, and then I will go down into the comments with you and we can listen to it and watch it together. But this one, it's analysis.
I cannot believe the judge did not stop her, and it's just so infuriating, especially when you hear what Cindy and Ronnie say in these calls about that. So, and it just proves they're. Well, I'll explain that when we get there. I'm just so triggered by the whole thing. But anyway, we're going to look at his calls that he made.
I also want to say that Ronnie and Cindy are very triggering to some people, and it can cause arguments. There's people that feel sorry for them, and there's people that really don't like them. I just ask that you guys be respectful to one another. Just, if someone doesn't see your point of view, they just don't see your point of view. And that's all there is to it. And why waste your energy if they don't? And just accept it and be like, yeah, okay, I don't agree with that. And move on.
One of them on Thanksgiving Day, when they are frying a turkey outside at Jamie's house, and then other calls that he makes
Crystal.
to Ronnie at work and to their house in North Carolina. And these are going to occur from November 21st through the 25th of 2018. And we're going to take a look and analyze them. So what I basically mean by taking a look at them, we're not going to listen to the actual calls, but I listened to them, I made a transcript, and then I'm going to go through the transcript and do an analysis at the same time. So let's take a look here. And if you do want to go hear these calls again, I will put a link in the pinned post.
I am pretty
you-
sure she is the one that does Checkmate Humanity, and that's just like a really good channel. Does anyone know? Is Mommy Ramblings Checkmate Humanity too?
You can go and listen to them, okay? All right, let's go. So in one of these calls, he calls Ronnie at work, and Ronnie says, hello, hey, what's up? How are you? Chris says, I'm
Oh, you're
hanging in
not
there.
seeing
Ronnie says,
it.
you hanging in there? Yeah, okay. So where are you at? Still at Weld County? Where you came that one time, Chris
Hold on a
says?
second. I'm sorry, you guys. You're not seeing it. I have to rearrange my screen. I'm so sorry, you guys. Let me see what you're saying. Do you want me to pop back a few seconds, or are you good? Lori and Ruby Frankie were all gussied up. Were they when they went to court? Loving your channel. You're amazing with a beautiful soul, girl, inside and out. Thank you, Crystal. That is so sweet of you to say that. And she says, hello, crime fam. Do you need me to pop back a second, or are you good? I think I'll just go back one pop. There we go.
So in one of these calls, he calls Ronnie at work, and Ronnie says, hello, hey, what's up? How are you? Chris says, I'm hanging in there. Ronnie says, you hanging in there? Yeah, okay. So where are you at? Still at Weld County? Where you came that one time, Chris says? It's good to hear your voice, boy. Lord have mercy. He didn't do as many Lord have mercies as he did in where he actually was at the jail itself. And I looked at that, and it really looks like Ronnie is on something. And the thing is, and we'll get to it.
Well, didn't Ronnie turn to substances when he went away to college? I mean, this is huge, just huge.
There's a call which makes it sound almost like Chris is aware that Ronnie may be using something. We'll get to that. Allegedly, my thoughts, my opinion.
Scandalous.
So, good to hear your voice. And Chris says, I didn't know if you would still be at work now. And he says, yes, I'm out here in the warehouse. Oh, okay, gotcha, Chris says. And then Ronnie asks again, how you doing? Chris says, I'm okay. It was pretty horrible. And his father says, yeah, it was. Yeah, we were there. And we're proud of you and proud of what you're doing. Proud of what you're doing.
Proud?
Well, this is going to go into what is said later, that his parents still believe he didn't do this. And everything they say to people that they need to, they'll say they believe their son did it or they accepted it, but they haven't. Okay. So while she went on some media and
they
did say
haven't.
that she did not believe that he did it, and we've all seen that.
I think in Cindy's last interview, she sounded like she was accepting it more, but she was still bashing Shanann quite a bit.
Back from that time. It's just crazy because she's doing the same thing here, but they're saying that we're proud of you for what you're doing. We're really proud of you, Chris. And he said, I didn't know if you guys were going to come, but thanks for coming.
It's good to have some male energy in here, Cowboy. People always think that it's just a women's channel, but we are open to everybody. And actually, when the show was just a podcast, we had more of a male following than a female. Over on Facebook, that's where I mostly did the podcast. I have more men over there following the show than women. And I just think it's amazing because it shows that they support women. And that's like really amazing to me.
And here's something very interesting. Now, Ronnie is talking about the woman that made the statement before Cindy made her statement at the podium at the day of sentencing, which I don't even want to call a victim's impact statement because it wasn't. But the woman made a statement. And at this time, Ronnie says he's in agreement with that statement. But you're going to hear that story change. So he says the lady we were with, she is actually a defense attorney, but not in the case or nothing. She's an advocate for the Bill of Rights. And then Ronnie says this, like, it's almost unbelievable because, Bella and Cece were our grandkids. So she said, we're victims. That was like absurd to him. It wasn't even something he said. This woman had to tell them this. Okay. It's just so absurd. And he said, so since we were victims too, she could get us in so we could talk. So you see a little bit about what's going on. And then he yells at the people, hey, keep it down. And he says, well, that's what that was about. And then Chris says, that was Liz Powers, right? He said, yeah, Liz Powers, she was good. But in another call, they're going to refer to this woman as Jamie. Very weird. Okay. Then he says, that was awesome what you guys said. Thank you so much. And then here, Ronnie gives a little tip off again. Yeah, well, I wanted to say a whole lot more, but they, and he stops there. There's some little big.
For sure. They really went off on, I guess it was the victim advocate that was with the Watts. And they're like, you know, we didn't want to say that. And they, you know, we wanted to say a whole lot more. And
chaos in the back. And then he says, well, after your mother spoke, I just about lost it. So I couldn't say anything. I just would have lost it. And Chris goes, you probably couldn't see it through my glasses. And I know the papers say I didn't cry, but I cried through the whole thing. Yeah, Chris, I'm looking at you right now and I can
we could see through your glasses, Chris. We could
see it through your glasses. And you really look like you're crying through that whole thing. I think you probably squeezed out one tear. I think you were able to, and that was all for yourself. Then he says, I love you. It probably took a lot for you to get through all that. And Chris says, oh, yes, it was so horrible. Now, here's some of Cindy's memorable quotes here. There is nothing I wouldn't do for you. Nothing. I don't agree with anything that woman said that day.
I'm going to stop and read them myself. So these are some of the quotes that Cindy said in that phone call. Cindy Watts, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Nothing. I don't agree with anything that woman said that day. She talked off the top of her head that day. Everything was all manipulated. We didn't say anything she said, and it broke our hearts. We were intimidated. It wasn't our story. It wasn't our story. Oh, I'm sorry. She very dramatic about the court and not being able to talk to Chris before the court. And then Chris is like, I gotta go. And Ronnie Watts is, when they said that we accepted you, did it? We never did. No, we did not. We watched to get in the courtroom and give our statement. We did not. We wanted to get in the courtroom and give our statement. So, I don't know. They're just such angering people.
He says, I know this is recorded, but if you want to fight it, and you've got so much support out there.
So they really launched into fight this. You've got to fight this, Chris. You need to fight it, because they really believe, I think, that Shanann unalived the girls. They believed they believed. I don't know if they do anymore, because they sounded like in their latest interviews that they kind of are accepting that, or assuming that, I don't know. I don't know if they're there yet, but kind of getting there where he did it. He did it. I don't know how they feel about NK, but they really did this whole fight. Even the sister, when she got on the phone, she was like, fight. And like, fight for what?
I've got letters, and some are from people in the past, and some are from people I know. Most of the time I get letters from people I don't know, but I don't want anyone to go through all this. And Ronnie says, like your mother said before the plea, if you want to fight this, they're not going to approach you. And, and then Chris has just said, this is recorded. I can't really talk about all that stuff. And I don't think I will ever, it's not going to bring anyone back. And then Ronnie says, well, maybe when they move you, I'm not sure how those phone calls work or how they're done.
If he did file that 35C, would it been possible for more evidence to come forward? Is that a reason why, one of the big reasons why he didn't do it? You sound a lot like Bunny XO. Oh, that's a compliment. I like her a lot. I'm not sure, Jacqueline. I just know prisoners aren't allowed to alter their appearance. Oh, are you talking about? I think I was seeing some people were talking about um, Jody and being all dialed up, and I do remember. I felt like Lori. It looked like she had gotten her hair colored. Is that something that? I mean, I guess it's like if they have enough money and the lawyer can hire someone to come in and do their hair. Is that possible? Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with that at all. I feel really, really hurt by what he did. I just feel really hurt because I never said uh, negative things about him. I just stood on the fence and I would report what he did and what he didn't do. And I did one thing about him. About being deplatformed, and it was such a respectable one, but unfortunately it was done with that. I've got to come up with a name for him because he's the Jay or Jeff, and I had to take it down. But I'm going to redo it. It was very respectful. I don't know if I'm going to redo it because I guess I'm really hurt by it, and I just maybe don't want to even deal with him. Just kind of deal with my hurt. 35C might threaten whatever Chris is hiding. Okay. So more evidence could come in. Okay, let's not be so quick to judge. We truly have no clue to way Ronnie or Cindy feel. Those two were bounced around. Yeah, they were bounced around a lot. And also they had a lot of vultures that came after them afterwards. But yeah. I do have some sympathy for the Wattses now. I do. The more I research them, um, I just wish that, I don't know. I don't know what I wish. I have an honest question. Hey, G Lord, by the way. Why do people think he didn't find God because he's having us correspondence? I guess because it's pornographic and not in a loving way. Oh, I'm guessing that's why. Yeah, I do want to go over her book too. And it would just be so nice if I've said this before. It would be so nice if she could find just a really good author and collab with them. And because there's so many good authors out there that are like, I know good authors. I went to school with good authors. I mean, it would just be really good to find an author and that an author that didn't leak stuff, that was able to keep everything quiet. Bye, Jacqueline. Have a good night. Um, so I just wish that things could be better for them. They had better people around them.
But maybe those phone calls.
And I'm not saying that the person around him isn't a good person. I heard that they parted ways with Dave, so I don't know if that's true or not. I just heard it. And I hear a lot of stuff.
Are more open and you can talk about what you want to do. Yeah, sure, Ronnie. Okay. And then he talked about the move to the other prison, and Chris said he has to be brought somewhere first. They're all evaluated. He didn't know where he was going. And Chris said, well, it'd be nice if, oh no, Ronnie said it would be nice if they could move you to the East Coast so we would not have to fly. And Chris says, well, I'm not sure they're going to take that into account, but it would be nice if they did, but I don't think so. And then he's talked about, how they move inmates around, you don't know where they're going. And then Chris said something like, the only one I know is on the East Coast and it's in Pennsylvania, but that's Pennsylvania. And he's trying to tell Ronnie like it would be a really long way to drive and he's better off to fly to Colorado. I guess Chris thought he was going to be staying in Colorado. And he said, I didn't know if he would drive. And then Ronnie said something like about his Subaru, like he could, Ronnie talks. So it's about how he could take his Subaru and go up there.
I'm wrong. Mommy Ramblings is not Checkmate Humanity. Checkmate Humanity is a good channel. Mommy Ramblings is the person that is really tight with the Rusheks, and she's had them on her channel quite a bit. So I take it back. It's not Checkmate Humanity. I don't know anything about Mommy Ramblings channel.
And they started talking about flights and then about the money on the card. Do you have enough money? And Chris was worried about, not putting too much money on the card because he was going to be moving. And let's see. When he called, he said, use this number. So yeah, they talked about the card, the number $20 on it. And then they started talking about sports. They went on and on about sports, teams, players. And he said, are you going to be there for a few more days? And Chris said, I doubt they're going to move me tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving, but, I will give you a call. And then Ronnie says, well, we'll be at Jamie's house. So, okay, it should be the same time every day whenever I get out and I get my hour out. He asked about when they got back from the last time from the sentencing, and they talked about how they got in and what time it was. And then Ronnie says, well, we're going to get reimbursed for that flight and the hotel and all of this. We're supposed to get all that back. And then he explains.
I mean, I guess it's just the way he said it, and it's against the rules too, and just like, I'm gonna soak your panties. I don't know, that just grosses me out. But I don't know if it just grosses me out because it's Chris and Chris grosses me out. But I think that you can be sexual and be a Christian for sure, so it's a good question. It's a really good question. What do you guys think? I think Chris is using Christianity as a crutch and hiding behind it. I don't think he has found, I don't know. But I guess you're not supposed to judge whether he's found God or not, but I just don't feel like he has. I'm not a Christian. I'm just a spiritual person. I believe in a higher power. And there's just, I don't know, a lot with Christianity, and it's a messy, murky subject, and just like politics, and that's about to heat up. If it's, it's already starting to heat up, and it's just one of those subjects that a debate can easily turn into a fight. But it's a good question, because now that you're saying that, I'm thinking about all these sexual people that are Christian. So that's a good point.
That they had to use the underground parking garage, and they had to use the back stairs and everything to keep them away from the press and the media. And, and then I guess he was saying after the sentencing and everything that went on there, is the mother and him, I think, had a drink at the airport. And Chris said, well, you can't, I don't blame anyone for having a drink at the airport after that. And let's see, he said, think about things and keep your head up, and we're always here for you, no matter what. They can't. They repeat.
I'm gonna actually.
We meant everything your
clear
mother
you
said.
out of
See,
your
Ronnie goes to the mother, and that lady read
no
for me.
reason to
That's what he
hate
said at
watch
that time.
me.
Okay, but it changes.
I don't want to subject my other people that enjoy watching me. So I'm gonna say goodbye to you. Used to feel really bad about doing that, but I've had to do it quite a bit, and it feels a little liberating.
And we love you, and hopefully I will talk to everyone. And then his father, we love you, dog, with that stupid dog thing that he does. But he wasn't doing it like he did in the visit where he was dog, where he was talking so fast. So he was at work. He was probably not able to use anything there, if that was the case, that why he was acting like that. Do what you have to do to be safe. And then that was pretty much the end of that call.
That would have to be I think the parents' greatest fear. And just the other day we watched a prisoner say what they'll start doing is going after his family, and they're just going to start making him work, um, like selling his toenails and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that probably their biggest fear is him being harmed. Let me see what people are saying. A big regret of this case not going to trial is no insight of Chris's mental state. Yes, yes. I wish that he would have had a thorough pre-trial competency and psych evaluation. I do too, and I think he declined it, didn't he? He declined the psych evaluation, but he took the genius test or the IQ test, I mean. Jacqueline, she has never, not once, blamed her for his actions. I don't know what you're talking about. I believe he found out they were losing the house late August and lost it. Yeah, I think he worried about money far more than he let on to. And I was listening to something in the background, and they were talking about like this letter he wrote to somebody from prison, and he said that he would, and this is all alleged, you guys. It's not. I'm just. This is all my opinion. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Yeah. So, and he was like, he would stand there and look at Shanann when she was yelling at him, and he would just think, I could unalive you right now, and then think of ways to do it, or think of himself doing it. So, I mean, I think it would have been so nice to know more about him. Amy girl, loving the content, excited for your live. Oh, thank you. I feel like I'm improving, and I'm really enjoying it. Oh, I can't wait. And thank you for being a subscriber. I'm with this case for many years. I'm still feeling overwhelmed. It's so hard to believe. I know, Tina. Isn't it? It's just like, or Tima. I'm sorry. I think I said Tina the first time. It still overwhelms me. I still cry at points. Like, it still hits me. I don't know if this case is ever going to leave me. And I cannot have a conversation like this with any other case. Like, I can talk. I feel like if there was like a convention for this case, I could kind of hang with the big dogs. I probably wouldn't know everything, but I think I could hang with the big dogs and have a valid conversation. Oh, do you guys like my voice? I've always, like, for the first year I didn't use my voice at all on this channel because I was so, like, I'm from Michigan and I feel like I have a very nasally voice. A judge could have ordered a pretrial psych evaluation at the state hospital and Chris wouldn't have had a choice. Oh, well, I feel like they just, like, everything halted, and nobody wanted to do anything else except those CBI agents that went to Dodge and interviewed him the same way they did in Colorado and put bunches of words into his mouth and fed him stuff that he could just be like, yeah, that sounds good. I'll go with that. I grew up in the Metro Detroit area, so I kind of Royal Oak, but I lived all over the place after I graduated from college. I lived like in Detroit. I lived in Ferndale. So the Metro Detroit area. Oh, you're in West Michigan. Team Pure Michigan is here representing. I love Michigan. I'm still like very pure Michigan. I love Michigan, and I'm learning to love Florida. So at first it was too hot for me, but now when I go back into the cold, it's like cold. I've got the Michigan or the Florida blood going in me.
Now, the next call, Ronnie answers and he says he's outside cooking a turkey. And well, he goes in and he starts talking to the dogs when he goes in. And there's such a commotion because Jamie and her mother, Cindy, sound exactly the same.
I'm so happy that I'm having
Jamie's voice sounds
conversations
just
like
the same
this
age as her
with you, and I'm learning where you guys are from, and I'm kind of being able to like put something to you, who you are. You know, just looking at names sometimes it's hard to be like to so I'm just so happy that you guys are telling me who you are.
mother's, just the same tone, intonation. It's almost impossible to tell them apart, but that they look exactly the same as well, except for different hair. And Cindy has more wrinkles. But, you can see they look exactly alike and they speak exactly alike. It's very hard to hear who's saying what, and they talk over each other. So when he goes in, you hear someone, which appears to be Jamie, going, Chris is on the phone, and she's OMG, OMG, she's going nuts.
Yeah,
And then the mother comes out, and
it
then
just
everybody
felt so forced, the excitement. Their excitement feels like forced to me. Am I the only one that it just doesn't feel natural? Like, I don't know, but what is natural when somebody's in prison? So that's another question. Oh, Oregon. I haven't done the west side of the United States very much. I've been to California, but I haven't like done Washington, Oregon, and I really am like feeling drawn to that area. So I really hope that I can travel to the places that you guys live. And when I'm coming through your city, you can meet me or you can tell me fun things to do. And yeah, I can't wait to do that. I envision that a lot, and I think that's in my future.
starts talking at once, and Jamie just starts freaking. Chris, we're so happy to hear from you. We love you, and we believe in you, no matter what, no matter what. And then
Fight,
one of
fight,
them,
fight.
Cindy or Jamie, says, let's take it slow, let's take it slow. And then it's okay, we need to slow it down. And then they have someone there named Joanne, and Joanne shouts something in the phone that, hi, it's Joanne, and I believe in you. It's so good to hear from you. I believe in you. And then it sounds like Cindy's, Chris, we love you. We believe in you. We love you. You were railroaded. Oh my goodness. Now, a lot of people think that's Cindy, but then
Railroad. What?
if you listen to
Who?
the call a few times, you see it
How
seems to
did he
be
get
Jamie,
railroaded?
because the person that says this, you were railroaded, oh my goodness, don't you give up. And then says, hey, hold on, I'm going to try. We love you so much. This is not the end of your story. You need to do what you need to do to find your voice. Whatever you need to do, we love you either way. And then says, I'm going to give you to mom and dad or something. I'm going to let you keep talking to mom and dad. So that was Jamie. And the mother says, don't give up. You hear me? And he says, I'm being strong. You have to. There's so much support out there for you. Did you ever get our letters?
I actually thought this was parts of the actual phone calls. um, do you guys mind if I just skip and we can go forward and do the Martin decoder, the analysis of Chris's phone call with a private investigator? Because I don't know, I want to hear something. Don't you? I played it and I thought I heard. Anyway, I'm going to move forward if you guys don't mind. I will put the link for that if you want to finish watching it. So this one is Martin Decoder, and does God want Chris Watts out of prison? An analysis of Chris's phone call with a private investigator. Ooh, music. Hold on. This guy fascinates me the way he talks. He's very like monotone. But I don't know enough about them to say if I like them or I don't like them.
Whether or not we're conscious about our language or the language of other people, words decide our understanding of a given issue. Our thoughts and actions are determined by the language we hear and are accustomed to. This is a combined statement and conversation analysis of Chris Watts' phone call with a private investigator and Anna.
This has music. I hope he doesn't have music behind the whole thing. Let me just see if he does.
All I really, as much as I have,
He doesn't.
I keep the call.
Yeah,
These depictions give us an unreliable perception.
just you or is Anna on also?
Okay.
I'm here too.
All right, cool. All right, so just talk to me. I don't want to be the one monopolizing.
This is the one that we were
conversation.
listening to
Tell me,
at the beginning of the live. So this will be very good because now we have an analysis of what we listened to.
tell me what you want to know from me, or just tell me what's on your heart.
Well, just going in the law library as much as I have, I see a lot of cases. I've heard a lot of cases around here, guys. I see a lot of cases where the DA or the judge have had a lot of misconduct, but a judge has ruled say, well, it's not egregious enough, or it's not that that wow factor enough to really sway in the defendant's favor. And I'm looking at the things that I know. I mean, I've never dealt with a law before, but all this. I'm winging it in the law library as I am, and God directed me through little things like through the poisonous tree, the Brady law, and different cases that just it pops out of nowhere. But I know what God put in front of me, and I see all these things that relate to my case. I just don't know how to frame this. Where like when I do this 35C, I've had this paperwork with me.
I actually have a friend that wrote to him, and she became a friend because Rosie found her online, and then I asked her to be on the show, and there is a show about her writing to Chris. She's Christian, and she said that God told her to write to him, and she did, I think, about 10 or so letters, and then once she felt like he had the word, she just stopped writing him. And she wasn't writing them because she's not a fangirl or anything like that. She just really felt like she needed to give him the word of God. And I just kind of really respect that. I can respect someone that, I really respect people that have that deep, deep, deep need to make sure that people are saved. I can respect that.
For probably a couple months. I know I only have a year left to appeal some of those Class B and C felonies. That's like a 3-year limit and a 2-year limit.
I'm sorry. No, I don't. I've never been on Dave's channel. In fact, I don't think Dave likes me very much at all. And I'm really I don't know why.
Establishes a relationship with
but
the
it
other.
doesn't really matter. My life isn't ending over it. It's just, it is what it is.
The speaker. It's an associating linguistic element. The expression presupposes that the speaker tells the truth, even though the hearer doesn't actually know, as the expression otherwise implies. Just downplays what Chris is about to say, even though the information.
So we've heard that Just is a downplayer, listening to other behavioral experts.
He ends up giving is comprehensive and self-serving. I mean is a hedge signifying probability rather than certainty. This, along with Chris's modest expression winging it, corresponds to his downplaying. However, notice how his quote-unquote modesty or unassertiveness conflicts with his following statements where he makes God the grammatical subject and himself the object. Chris prefaces this first reference to deity with the associating so linguistically he's expecting the private investigator to believe in both types of accounts, one that's modest or unassertive and one that's highly assertive. Assertive because Chris uses the verb know, not think, and because it's now God who puts these other cases in front of him. Chris removes agency from himself. Notice how this utterance, which again makes Chris the grammatical subject, is placed after the reference to God. Linguistically, Chris's I and God are one and the same, and they happen to believe the same. Chris reveals the real reason for his prologue about what God has allegedly shown him. Time is running out for Chris, but instead of saying this directly, he used God to disguise it. We should take into
It's just interesting how, do you think Chris thinks he is God? I mean, he played God, certainly. For the record, I despise many things about what that clown is about. I know a decent trial when I see one. I've watched thousands. Yeah. I think we can all agree. Well, there are a few people that don't think he's odious. Somebody called somebody odious yesterday, and I'm like, man, when you say that, you really think they're gross. So most people think he's gross. I think we can all agree about that. Right. Did God direct you to kill your wife and kids? Dude is a frickin' wackadoodle. He's just, gaslighting the world.
account that in the CBI and FBI interviews, Chris also hid behind God's authority and told bold-faced lies. Listen to this.
I don't know where they're at. Honestly, I do not know where they are at. If I could have my babies back home right now, I would. I want them back. I want everybody back. That is God's honest truth. Okay? I mean, that's God's honest truth. Okay?
In statement analysis, it's understood that deceptive people are more likely than truthful people to use mild oaths like "I swear" and the idiom "God's honest truth." They're more
That's
likely
true.
to
When
appeal to
somebody
deity.
says I swear over and over to me, I kind of my eye raises like, why are you swearing so much? Who are you? What are you trying to sell me?
Self-serving reasons. Chris has no problem lying in God's name, despite his appearance of holiness. Nothing's
He hadn't found God yet.
too holy for him.
And
He did say, or did I hear someone say, didn't he say that he wishes that he knew God before this all happened?
I really want to figure this out where I can do it in the right time frame, but also not rushing anything. And I just
Amy, I believe that Dave comment was for me. Number one, I couldn't be friends with Miss Watts because I don't know her. I respect and feel horrible for her, Ronnie and Jamie. Chris isn't in the equation. Oh, okay. Yeah. I wouldn't think that Dave would ever want me on a show. And I wouldn't go on his show either. I just, want to wish him well and wish myself well and just go from there.
I just want to get out of here. I want to get.
When I separate myself from somebody, I don't sit and talk about them. I don't want to say bad things about Dave. I just am hurt by what happened. The situation bothers me. And other than that, I am doing so much better. I look at myself on that day and it was just horrible because it was kind of a buildup of a lot of stuff going on. I had the J thing that happened, and then, I was afraid I was going to lose my channel. And it was just a lot. And I don't regret doing it though, because I feel like I shared a piece of me with you guys. I just showed you who I was, and you guys either accepted me for it or you didn't. And it felt good.
I know that God has a plan for me, and it's not to be in prison right now, but not stay here. Because he brought me here for a reason. But he also wants me to do something on the outside. I know I just can't sit here and just wait. Or wait. I know there's waiting, doing nothing, and there's waiting that seeking an action verb. That's what I'm doing. But I also want to know like what action to take, because I have no intellect when it comes to the law. But I know he can teach me, and that's what I'm just waiting for. Like things to fall into place. I still know how to do it.
I got you.
Chris says it himself. He just wants to get out of there. The adverb just undermines his references to
Do you
deity.
think that he truly believes that he will be released from prison one day? Do you think he really believes that? I don't know if he believes it or he's just saying it.
And once again reveals the simple truth. Chris is consistently trying to make his mission sound greater and more noble and pure than it actually is. Notice the wording again. Chris knows that God has a plan for him, but the only reason he's able to know is because it's his own thoughts, his own plan. Self-repair.
I'm not sure how a person that goes to prison for life even deals with that. Like, this is where you're going to be for the rest of your life, and it's really not a very comfy, cozy place. I guess you would have to think that maybe someday something would change and you could get out. Like, maybe that's how the human brain deals with that denial.
Often used to make statements less direct and less honest. Here, Chris goes from a negative, it's not, to a positive, it is, as if suddenly remembering that he has to sound modest. However, this modesty is undermined by but. This paratactic conjunction minimizes or negates the statement that preceded it. In this case, that it's God's plan for him to be in prison. He prefaces the but utterance with the restriction, right now. Chris pretends to know the duration of God's
He
alleged.
seems to think that that's where God has placed him for now. Like, I actually worry that he could get out someday only because of what's happening. And I worry weird things. Only what's happening with Scott Peterson, and he was on death row and now he's not. He's probably going to get a new trial. And what if something later down the road happens where, I don't know. I just worry about those things.
Plan, and he places focus on him getting out while minimizing God's quote-unquote old plan. Chris is not describing God's plan. He's negotiating with himself. He hides behind God's ethos, credibility, and ability because he himself has no ethos. The conjunction but also wins when Chris now undermines that God brought him in prison for a reason. Obviously, Chris's focus is on getting out. So now he has to undermine what he previously called God's plan.
I think they're talking about this expert. We're watching an expert. I think that's what P is saying.
Plan for his life. As an adverb obviously indicates certainty, a shared certainty between the private investigator and himself, that is, even though the investigator has no knowledge of this. This is manipulative language. Obviously corresponds to his repetition of the assertive verb know, indicating certainty, unlike his unsure statements in the beginning of his prologue, what I called modesty or unassertiveness. Here, the simple truth is revealed once again. The criminal justice system has always been full of criminals claiming to have a strong relationship with God. Their stories imitate emotion and are ultimately calculating. They know that invoking God's name is a profitable way of gaining people's sympathy. We should never underestimate the power of feelings, the power of pathos. In the 1980s, the scholar Walter Fisher said that the narrative world paradigm had replaced the rational world paradigm, in part meaning that in the postmodern society, personal feelings conquers logic, known as logos, cohesive and consistent arguments. Fisher said this in a time without social media, but obviously social media have contributed to making everything more emotional and opinionated. Everyone can create
For sure.
Their own narratives in words or in pictures and read the narratives of others. Many people react more to narratives, personal stories, than they react to statistics, moral principles, and even evidence. In the past, Chris had no problem lying in God's name, so by inference, he should have no problem doing it now.
Well, okay, let me address a couple things in what you just said. First of all, you live in a closed society now. Every door is shut in your face. You cannot go from one. You go to one wall, you can't go further. You got to turn your left, you can't go any further. So you know what I'm saying? You're in this perpetual, this room with no door, so you cannot get through. You got that? You understand that? What I'm trying to say? So your world is controlled. You hear the word no probably more than you hear the word yes in that system. So one thing you need to be very accustomed to is being denied, being turned down, being told no. You with me?
Yep.
So just keep a positive attitude about all that, and keep don't take any steps back. Just keep moving forward.
I
Even
mean,
if
oh God. He is just blowing smoke up his butt.
it's a small step, move forward and not backward. Okay?
Okay. Just like in my devotional today, it was Miss Esther. It was a door of hope, and yes, the Lord was speaking
I actually find it annoying when he talks about God because I don't believe it.
to Esther, and she was saying to the Lord, I've led you to the wilderness, but I will plant in that wilderness vineyard. If you go through the valley of Kor, which is the valley of trouble, I will put a door of hope. But even though you're in a wilderness, you're going to plant vineyards in that wilderness. Though you're in the valley of trouble, there's going to be a door of hope in that trouble.
He's using a narrative to create identification and to persuade the private investigator and Anna that his story is similar to Esther's. This is our first clue that Chris doesn't view himself as a bad guy. We find the second clue in his choice of grammatical subject. Notice the phrasing. Chris is once again assigning agency to God. According to Chris, God has put him in trouble. He doesn't point to his own actions and thus avoids accountability. Also to Chris, his knowledge
Well,
is
if he
equal.
did that too, his mom and dad would find out. He can't have that. He's got to string them along for the rest of their lives.
To God's knowledge, allegedly knowing that there will be vineyards. In his prison interview, known as the confession interview, Chris also made sure to speak as if he was a different person at the time of the murder.
And every time I think about it, I'm just like, did I know I was going to do that before I got on top? Or
Really? That's an interesting thought, Chris.
I do find it hard to analyze like what he was before because he never claimed to be a Christian before and now a Christian after. And this guy's one of the people that when he talks, I have to really pay attention to what he's saying. Like my mind just doesn't flow with what he's saying.
You don't know if you knew.
like I try to go back in my head. I'm just like, I didn't want to do this, but I did it. Everything just kind of like.
You felt like you had to?
I just felt like it was. I don't even want to say it felt like I had to. It just felt like
That
there
is
was already something in my mind that was planned that I was going to do it, and I woke up that morning, it was going to happen, and I had no control of it. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but I just like I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding you, keep you not letting go.
Blaming another entity for one's own wrongdoings is common for people with antisocial personality disorder or a low level of empathy and arousal. It tells us a lot about Chris's self-perception that he portrays himself as the protagonist in this biblical account.
So, Chris, what were you saying before we got cut off about when he asked, I can't remember what it was, but you were talking about the evidence and your confession that wasn't true.
Well, I just know that I've never experienced anything like this before. Like from the tragedy that happened, from the law enforcement to the interrogation, the jail, the prison, all this was new. All this was new. And I know that even though I've never had something like this happen before, I knew the shock and the trauma was there in my mind. I didn't know how to process things.
Proportionally,
Oh,
very
poor
few
baby. Was he overwhelmed?
people have experienced interrogations and time in prison. So in reality, this isn't about Chris, even though he tries to make it about him. His focus is himself at the onset of this passage, and he's foreshadowing an upcoming complaint. It's interesting to note how he prefers mind verbs like no, which is his favorite verb throughout the phone call. Also, he makes a reference to his mind. What's most important to us manifests in our word choices. Subjects with reduced empathy and low arousal prefer mind verbs and often place their rare feel verbs in unmotivated places because they're not in touch with their feelings and they maintain an intellectual distance to them. We continue noticing his point
I
of
have
view.
a question about the guy in the doing the video. Does is he from what country is he from? I'm just curious what country he's from.
The shock and trauma he experienced, not the shock and trauma he exposed his victims to. This utterance speaks to a need for control. How to process things is a euphemism in this regard.
Every question that they asked me, I was just agreeing with them and just going along with what they said because, like, well, I guess we had to tell them something. And even when they came here to prison and interrogated me, they were in their street clothes acting like they didn't, they were just talking to me when in retrospect they were actually interrogating me again. And I know for a fact that, that interrogation and I used because they were here in Wisconsin that they're all Colorado based.
I don't think Chris minded. He got to get out of his cell. They gave him some snacks and drinks. I don't think Chris minded one bit. I do think it was strange that they acted like they weren't going to release the video and they didn't know if they would share it with Shanann's family. And I think they always planned on doing that.
All that is like null and void, but still they're going to try to use all this stuff against me. But I know that from that interrogation to the first one, that all that was like a coercive type psychological intimidation of someone that, had never been in that situation before, and they just used that to their advantage.
This statement is interesting on at least two levels. First, to say that he just agreed with every question is a hyperbole which is easily falsifiable. Second, he involuntarily admits that he's unreliable. If he was just agreeing with them then how can we ever know if he's telling the truth, including in this phone call? His unreliability is further evidenced by this utterance, as if he was doing the agents a favor. In the confession interview, the agents were explicit that Chris didn't have to say anything he didn't want to.
Your case is completely closed. Nothing about what we're going to talk about today has anything to do with an open investigation. So we're not here to get more charges on you or get any statements from you that are going to jam you up anymore. Right? That's all done. So all of our cases are closed and the court case is closed. So there's nothing that we're going to talk about today that's going to get you in any type of more trouble at all. Are you available to talk to us?
Definitely.
Okay. If there's something that...
Definitely. That's like definite. That's not like, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, filler words. It's a lot. I have to make my brain pay attention to what he's saying. It's kind of like I'm back in school and I have to pay attention. Because if I don't, I miss it. Demonic possession is real. Chris could be telling the truth the best way he can. NK practices black magic. I don't know. Something evil, I think, was created in that house. I don't know who did it, but I don't know if it was the act itself. So Chris was possessed by hell. No kitty. NK was giving him a herbal tea she made every time she saw him. Some of that stuff is powerful. Yeah, and I think that stuff that he was like slapping all over his body, the Thrive stuff, was doing a number on them too, because I cannot take some of the products in there. It just makes me crazy. And I think someone wrote me or put in a comment and they said they took it and they were a mess for a few days. I'm the same way. I can't deal with that. I know it's off subject, guys. Sorry for that. But something that's really bothered me lately is some channels stating SW was only allowed to be with the kids so many hours daily unsupervised. Nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe Child Protective Services was involved in the case. Yeah. It takes a lot for a child to be removed from a family generally. But you know, I did foster care social work many, many years ago. I don't know if the system has changed. I don't think it has that much. And it was Michigan's foster care system. But yeah, I don't believe it. Will we ever know the truth? This is all unbelievable. Yeah. And this is like real life. Can, like, 10 years ago, would you think that you would be talking about something like this? Like that it really happened? It's just, the world is definitely different. Manda K, that's something that isn't proven, but many things make it look like it's true. Yeah, I don't believe it. So he wore 2 patches and they were removed from the market right after the unalivings. He was slapping on double patches and it was just a lot. I will put the link if you want to finish watching that down in the description. I mean, I don't think I need to hear whether he thinks Chris Watts, whether God wants Chris Watts out of prison. Analysis of Chris. Yeah. So Gavin Fish did this thing where he put out a phone number for people to call. Here is the number. I will also link this down below if you ever want to give Chris a little ring-a-ding. We'll listen to a few of these. They're very full of swear words. Just warning you, if that offends you.
Hey, this is Chris. Can't get the phone right now, so leave a message. I'll give you a call back.
Chris Watts, baby killer. There's not a lot I could say to you that hasn't already been said to you a bunch of times by a bunch of people. So I just wanted to let you know that I hope you do have a really long life. I hope you live a really long life in the hell concrete fart box of your design.
Fart box.
You're a piece of shit, bro. Go yourself. Hope you rot and die in prison.
What would you say to Chris Watts if you called his voicemail? What would you say to him if you knew for sure he was going to hear it?
Oh, Chris. You're not going to be able to get to the phone for a while, my man. A long while. Hope you're right.
Hey, Chris. You're a piece of and I hope you get in jail every single day and tortured. Have a nice life. You, dude. Hey, Chris.
That guy just called and said, F
I
you,
hope
dude.
somehow this makes it to you. Somehow, some way, I hope you're hearing this. You're worthless as you're a piece of like just what you've done. And I heard you get mail. I heard a video the other day where you're three-weighing calls. I ought to call up there and report you for that. So they take your phone privileges from your that you're
I
three-weighing
mean, we just listened to a three-way call.
and a lawyer, thinking that you're going to see the light of day again, which you're not. You know, I'm going to tell you something. And I honestly couldn't put myself in Shannon and them babies, their mother, Shannon's mom's and dad's shoes. I couldn't imagine what they went through. But knowing they still had sympathy for you in your life.
They all went through it, and it is amazing that Frank and Sandy still have said that they love them, and I think they still, like, I forget why they called them, but they called them for something recently. Not recently. I say recently, but it recently to in the Watts case for me is like 3 to 6 months ago. But I swear time is like speeding up, and so I'm not sped up with time yet. I'm trying to catch up with time.
After what you've done and put them through, and they got to live with forever, and the world too, because as a man, I just can't comprehend it. You make me sick, and I'm speaking for the world. I don't know how in this you were getting fan mail. Who in their right mind? But people are stupid, I reckon. I don't know. But I do know you're a cold-blooded monster. And you deserve to be in prison for the rest of your life. And you should be thankful and on your knees praying to God, thanking him that you're alive and you didn't get the death penalty or something for what you've done. And you're thinking you're going to walk out of there. If I got a call, I would like to just be able to send you messages every day myself, just to remind you of just the bad that your hands done. You're a monster, dude. You're not a human. You're a monster. You're
He hates being
cold-blooded.
called a monster.
I hope you rot in prison for the rest of your life. You're sorry. You're a piece of trash.
Dude has a lot to say.
Hey,
So, can you imagine being a person that all that hate is coming at you? Because I do believe that the world is like energy and whatnot. And I just feel like, can you imagine having all that hate coming at you? I can't. It just would be horrible, I think. Let's see what you guys are saying. They have a formula they don't have to share. They put them back on the market 6 weeks later. I don't know what you're talking about. Why would anyone call his voicemail? This is emotionally unhinged. Some people feel a lot of anger towards them, and it's a way for them to release it, I suppose. Yeah. I can't imagine having all that anger. And I'm protecting the community. I was asked to contact all the. And I think I have it where you have to become a member to come into chat, and they go through all of that. So, yeah, he brings God into it quite a bit. Because they like to threaten. So, would you call? Would you call and say all of that to Chris Watts? And if you did want to, what would you say? I don't think I would do it like J Lord. I just don't feel that need to do that. But it is an interesting concept. It's a very interesting concept. So guys, before I go, I had this little bit of fun. I found this look-alike of Nicole Kessinger. And I thought it would be fun to watch her quick little video. It's really kind of cute.
People keep telling me I look like Nicole Kessinger, probably because they want me to drink a tall glass of bleach, but just for funsies, here's my impression of her. Did people hate Amber Frey? I think I'm good.
This is why you should never mess with a fruity farmer. So I'm here working in the bar.
So she's kind of making a joke out of it because she looks like Nicole Kessinger. Kelly from What's the Obsession really helped me out with that type of stuff. So I'm not upset about it. And I know I'm safe. So in the end, I will be safe, even if they take me through a journey. So, oh, you were talking about the patches. Gotcha. Yeah, it just makes me really sad that people feel that need. But I've got to stop allowing myself to be sad for other people's actions. I do that quite a bit. And I've got to stop doing that because I keep all my emotions in me, in my body. And I'm trying to learn different ways and be a better person and a different person and heal my body and heal my mind, heal my spirit. And I'm hopefully helping you do the same because I wish that for you as well. I want you to be a whole and healthy person. And, that kind of, I don't know, that kind of behavior, I can't vibe with. I don't get it. I don't get the hate watching. And I guess it's because I'm at that point where I feel like time is running out for me. Like now I've got to do it or nothing, this is the time. I've got the space and the, capacity to do it. And I think that you guys should all think about that, about yourselves. Now is the time, you guys. It's time. It's time for you to do what you really want to do in life. And don't waste your time on stuff that you don't feel won't make you feel good in the end. It's time to focus on the important stuff. And to me, the important stuff is becoming a better person, experiences, and helping others. That's where I am in my life. And I hope that I'm able to do all of that. And I hope that I encourage you to be the best person you can be. Because I know you can do it. Because I've come from the very bottom. And if I can do it, you can do it. I know it's hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Coming from getting back to where you're not fighting every month for your basics. It is so hard. But I'm going to overcome it. And I think you guys can overcome anything that you want to set your mind to. So I'm going to go, you guys. If nobody's told you this today, I'm telling you this. I'm so, so grateful for you guys. And I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Welcome to Para Women Radio. I'm Amy.
Someday you'll know. Someday I've been feeling this way for far too long.